Humanity is at a very important inflection point, timeline split in its history. And there's been no greater time to be alive than now. And this is the lifetime many of us have waited for and prepared for. So why is this important? You see, there's a timeline split, and one timeline is going to go towards eternal life, embodiment of your soul, oversoul, avatar, Krystal self. And the other timeline is going to go down, consume energy to create energy, consume energy to create energy, eventually run out of energy and return to source as black hole space dust return with no incarnational memory of its existence. And so this timeline split is happening right now, and people's higher selves are coming online, and they're having to choose because there's no force in source. For there to be love, there has to be a choice, and the greatest gift ever given to humanity is free will choice. So everybody's gonna have to choose. Now, the two timelines are the two spirals of creation. So sound carries timelines, right? And times spirals, okay? And so one spiral is the Christ spiral, which leads to eternal life. The other spiral is the Fibonacci, or the Fib of no Chi spiral, which is going to lead to black hole space dust return. The Christ spiral is built on a 12-sphere Kathara eternal tree of life. When God made man and woman in his image, it wasn't a person, it was a mathematical image, which is a base 12 eternal life grid. And this is duplicated in all of eternal life systems. The center point on the Kathara grid between the 8th chakra, the higher heart, and the 5th chakra is the center point, the Azure point. Direct connection to the source of all energy is that connection point. And so the Kathara grid is built in a very precise mathematical formulation. The length is 2 to 1. And as it expands, as it spirals, it literally spirals every 45 degrees that it turns. It increases in size by a square root of 2, which is 1.414. Now, when it completes a turn in stages from 0 to 2, 90 degrees, right? 45 degrees times 2, then it literally doubles in size. So for every 90-degree spin of quadrant of expansion, there is a doubling. And this gives us the number or numerical value sequence, expansion sequence. 1 times 1 is 2, like Terrence Howard said on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was right. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8, right? 8 times 2 is 16. So it's literally multiplying itself, expanding itself, not consuming energy to create energy, and therefore, and is connected to the source of all energy. Therefore, it is continuously expanding and has eternal life. The Fib of no Chi spiral is based on a finite base 10 math, which the Giovanni collective, which where the word Jehovah comes from, false alien gods, when they decided to disconnect through free will choice from the source of all energy, they had to create a different mathematical system utilizing their knowledge of first creation physics to create a finite life system, an energy suck system. And that's why they created the Fibonacci spiral. And that's why everything currently in nature is following this spiral. And everything in nature currently runs out of energy and dies. But death is inorganic. The original celestial human being was not created to die, but to have eternal life. So the Fibonacci sequence is also sometimes referred to as the Metatron collective, which is like the children of the Giovanni collective, right? They digress from the source of all energy through free will choice, and they created a new spiral, which is based on the golden mean spiral and the phi ratio. The Kabbalah 10 tree sphere of life starts, when you look at it, they took out the 12th sphere and they took out the 8th sphere and they collapsed it into a 10 sphere. And if you look at the starting point, it starts a little bit off center, not directly connected to source. And as it spirals, it consumes the previous number to create the next number through addition, not multiplication. So notice the math. 0 plus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. It's consuming the previous number. 3 plus 2 is 5. 8 plus 5 is 13. So it's consuming the previous number to create the next number. It's consuming energy to create energy. Therefore, eventually running out of energy. And the microcosm is the macrocosm. Yes, currently everything in nature dies, but those who choose to follow this timeline, the Fibonacci spiral, right, is literally going to eventually on a macrocosm run out of energy and return to source as space does, with no incarnational memory of its existence. So the Kathara grids for the Krystal spiral is different. The Krystal spiral is an expansion of energy and a multiplication of energy. The golden mean spiral, the Fibonacci spiral, is rotation through 90 degrees, is the phi ratio. Not doubling, but the phi ratio. Every 90 degrees, it's 1.618 in comparison to the 2 for the Krystal spiral. So it's all math. The universe is mathematical. And so the Fibonacci spiral is directly related to the golden mean spiral. It doesn't have a core of its own, and it's designed to attach to the Krystal spiral in order to survive. Let me repeat that. The Fibonacci spiral is directly related to the golden mean spiral, and it doesn't have a core of its own. And so it's designed to attach to the Krystal spiral in order to survive. And that's what this has been doing for a long time. The Fibonacci spiral has been attaching to the Krystal spiral and is coming to a point now where it's separating, where the Krystal spiral, an inflection point, is going to continue going this way to merge with the 12 to become the eternal life, right? To return to source is source wholeness. And the Fibonacci spiral, it attached as long as it could, but we're entering into a new timeline. We're exiting one timeline and entering into a new timeline, and think in terms of cycles, okay? And so there's a timeline split happening where Empire, Illuminati, the Giovanni Collective, the Metatron Collective that created this artificial timeline, their time is running out and they are desperate. And so they're going to try and continue to do everything they can to remain immortal. They're in survival mode by doing all kinds of crazy things with the media and all these different programs that they're running to parasitize energy and take people's energy, their money, their worship, and all these other things, right? Vampirical energy. And that's following the base 10 Kabbalah tree of life, Fibonacci spiral, the phi ratio, but we're merging now and people are gonna have to choose, okay? And so we're exiting one age, what some people call, you know, the age of Pisces, the Kali Yuga age. And we're splitting now and transitioning right now. So that's the transition point where the 2 points overlap and where they're separating. There's a polarization of frequencies happening into what some people call the age of Aquarius, the golden age. What Eckhart Tolle wrote about New Earth, what Jesus prophesied New Jerusalem, what the Native American elders saw in their vision, a space, a time, a new earth. So people's higher selves are now coming online, and everybody's gonna have to choose through free will choice. Systems that are based on new earth, transparency, respect, unity, holarchy, a circle, as was the original intention of source, eternal life, directly connected to source, spiraling out and experiencing an expansion of energy at all time, not consuming energy to create energy. Or new one world order systems, which are based on lack of transparency, which are based upon need for greed leads to more need, energy suck vampiring systems where you have to take energy from other people, and that's eventually going to run out of energy, and that has to do with math. Now, what determines what timeline you're going to be on is your frequency and your DNA encryption. Is your DNA encrypted to base 10, the Fibonacci spiral? Or are you starting to encrypt your DNA through sound, light, and symbols and activate your potential intron DNA into the base 12 eternal life code? And so my daily practice for those who resonate is to chant in the original light language, Anu Hazimua, sound, light, and symbols to keep my DNA encoded to the eternal Christ source spiral. And that is my daily choice that I make, and that's what's working for me. And so for those who resonate, I created an online course. If you resonate and you want to chant in this Anu Hazimua language, comment tribe, I'll send you a link to join. But it comes down, it's very simple. Love everything. I mean everything. And this is not meant to cause polarization. It's actually, you have to love the darkness. You have to love the shadow. You have to love your enemies, everything. And eventually what used to make you afraid actually becomes a traumedy. The trauma becomes comedy because the truth is funny. We are all one. Everything is interconnected, and love is the cohesive power of the universe. So choose love, and we will oscillate into new Earth systems, and the future is bright.